try a trick play. Ellsworth comes up with an interception. Then the miscue on the block punt. When you get a punt block, things go bad. O'Brien picks up this ball. Virginia gets points on the board. And then a 4th down and inches play. Bobby Bowden gets a bit tricky, but I think the most important thing is Virginia played the defense. They stayed with it, and they got a huge, that's like a turnover in this game. Florida State obviously gets no points. They stay in the game. And I think one other key play in this, as we look at the halftime stats, and what points out is how even the offense is here, is remember that 3rd and 14, Mickey Andrews calls it all-out blitz, and it turns into 7 points for Virginia. Some strange gambling that hasn't worked out well for Florida State so far in this game.
Both teams with turnovers, and Virginia with a lead by 6. They've never had a team ranked this high come in here. And Bobby Bowden's second-ranked Seminoles, and as Craig and Lee and Chris were talking about, maybe regardless of what happens in this second half, does Florida State drop in the polls? Well, we still got a lot of football left. And it's Demetrius Allen who has a long touchdown catch to his credit tonight to open things up, and he's going to be stopped short of the 20 in the kickoff return as we check in with Jerry Punch. Doc?
Guys, here in the Seminole locker room, head coach Bobby Bowden was very matter-of-fact at halftime. He stood right here on this big box in the middle of the locker room, looked around and talked to his defense very emotionally. He said, look, we're playing an emotional football team. We're giving up more big plays than that we've ever done before. They're taking it to us. We're catching their blocks. We have to take it to them. We have to fight for the football back in the secondary. And offensively, we got all day to throw the football, but our receivers aren't working to get open. We have to work to get open, but we have to stop them defensively here early in the second half.
Let's see how that defense does to start things off. Tiki Barber on a counter. And Barber got a couple outside before he's run out of bounds. Byron Capers, the cornerback, makes the play. Tiki Barber, a huge part of the Virginia offense in the first half. 111 yards on the ground, and there's the way it was charted for him, Garrett.
Yeah, and of course this one right here, the long one on the option play, is where he really, I think, showed Florida State that it was going to be a game, and that really said, hey, buckle up, guys. We're coming at you. We've got a lot of offense, too.
And he caught 3 passes for 45 yards and a touchdown in the first half. Here he comes again, straight up the middle, and Barber breaking tackles out to the 38-yard line. Wadsworth and Colsey.
And he is really doing things now.
Groh pumps once and then was going to go to Barber as his safety valve, and he got deposited by Orpheus Roy. The other thing about Tiki Barber, in a game against Duke in which at one point Virginia was not playing well, he had a touchdown run where 8 Duke players hit him and he still scored. So he's a guy that can bounce off and show his power.
And what I like in the big game, a back sometimes tries to do too much. Tiki Barber has been patient. He hasn't been fumbling the ball, taking big chances. He's been waiting for things to happen, and now it looks like he's going to play a little more physical in the second half.
Remember, he dropped the ball, fumbled early in the first quarter, and boy, has he made up for it. Here he is on a draw play. Ran right into Roy again. Roy is having a big game. Gary, you said he's got to come to the forefront. I think he's starting to.
Well, Chuck Amato, the defensive line coach, and Mickey Andrews really touted this guy as the guy who could replace Derek Alexander. Derek Alexander went pro early. He was a #1 draft price. This time, Jason Augustino is going to try to take on Roy. He cannot do it one-on-one. Roy throws him away and into the backfield. They said he was a terror in spring ball, but he hurt his ribs early. He's just now getting healthy.
3rd down 10. Groh, the middle, got it to Crowell for the first down at midfield. Robert Hammond made the tackle. Play action. Throws the outs, got Pete Allen out of bounds. First down. Groh sharp here to start the 3rd quarter.
Well, Pete Allen is a guy who's got plenty of experience. He's a true senior. He's played as a true freshman. He's a 4-year starter for this football team. He's not going to get overly excited about the game, and he has had a really productive game in this so far early, and he's really catching the ball with his hands so far and keeping everything in front.
Good night from Mike Groh. Tiki Barber moves inside. I think Roy again to the ACC crowd for the 4th straight year.
Doesn't mean much there.
2nd down at 10, deep to the middle, the tight end, and he had his hands on it. Neely, and he got separated by Byron Capers from the football.
Well, Neely showed what they expected him to do, get the ball deep in and release downfield. And I think this is the hardest throw that Groh has made in this whole football game. He's got the tight end. He rips the ball in there between the seams, and Neely drops the ball. Capers hit him late, but that was a drop pass.
I think Neely's showing rust, if you ask me.
You're exactly right. He's still of enough of a threat, though, Brad, that they have to keep him in the game. He's making somebody else make catches.
Crowell's going to have to call a timeout as he came much bigger in this place than that. Scott Stadium, where the Cavaliers at home lead Florida State 27-21. George Welsh's club won the 9th play of their drive with a 3rd and 10.
No blitz this time.
Groh, plenty of time, throws complete to Owen. Has he got a first down? I think so.
Virginia just so well coached. When you see that bracket coverage, and that's what Tom O'Brien knew he was going to get, in and out coverage on your wide receivers, you just go down the field and hook in between them. Both guys got you. One guy's got you to the outside, one guy's got you to the inside. You stop in between them, you throw the hook, you can Colsey and Hammond that time. Key comes over and help. But boy, that is perfect execution against bracket coverage. In and out, stop in between.
This started the 3rd quarter. 10th play of the drive. It began at the 19 after the kickoff return. Groh on the run. Not a good pass intended for Demetrius Allen. Let's check in with Jerry.
You saw the completion a moment ago in the Seminoles secondary. That's because they're without their junior free safety, Sean Hamlet. Now, Hamlet was in the locker room at halftime. That was Warrick Dunn, their star tailback. I'm told he probably will miss the first couple series here in the 3rd quarter.
Bobby Bowden worried about cold weather when he first got up here. Now he's got two of his starters getting IVs. 2nd and 10. Tiki Barber. Barber straight up the middle inside the 20.
Not only that, Brad, but Samari Roll, the cornerback who's gotten beaten once and came up with a good interception, he is also not out there. I have word that he had a hip pointer in the first half. Remember, we saw him limping off that one time. So really, they have 2 starters in that secondary that is not out there.
There's Dunn. He's back. 3rd down and 2. Huge 3rd down and 2 for the Florida State defense. The opening march of the 3rd quarter for the Cavaliers. Tiki Barber. I don't know. Down on the bottom of the pile. Looks like he's a little bit short of the first down to me. Sam Cohort, the linebacker, made the hit.
That's a nice stop by that Florida State defense that time. Bouncing Tiki Barber outside. A little bit of a traffic. And now George Welsh is saying, I didn't want that play. I wanted to play outside. What are you running inside for? Yeah, it's great to be the guy that always can second guess. We like it up here, don't we?
Right, we love it.
Yeah.
4th down, and they're not going to go for the field goal. Here comes an extra tight end.
George right then wanted them to hurry up and snap the ball before they substituted their defense.
They got the defensive substitution in. Florida State's been stingy in second half, so now Groh's got to hustle the count. 4th down, less than a yard. Trying to draw him offside. And flags fly in.
Well, it's going to be delay a game. He did try to dry him off, but I think with the field goal kicker they have, they figure they can kick 5 yards farther back, so they can from here also.
Dead ball. Delay of the game. 5 yards. 4th down.
So they'll take it out to about the 23. It's going to be about a 40-yard kick. Here's George Welsh before the play. Snap the ball.
Snap the ball. I don't know. He must have had a play on, but, you know, if you're the quarterback and things don't feel right up there, you don't feel your guy's set, you just can't go if the team's not ready. Mike Groh might have said, Coach, I didn't think we were ready.
Garcia now is hit 2 for 2 tonight. Try a 40-yarder. Not a very good snap. A nice placement put down by Sherman, and Garcia got it.
And I got a little bit of a hook with that left footer coming in there right in between.
10 minutes, 38 seconds. Wahoo's lead from the 17 to 14 mark thanks to a Garcia field goal, and now Raphael's just tacked on another one, and now it's that odd difference, 9 points. Still a long, long way to go, though.
Especially with a quarterback that put up 300 yards passing on you in the first half.
Exactly.
It's a long way to go.
Tom O'Brien talking with Mike Groh, Danny Kanell on the sideline awaiting his chance. Jermaine Green and Dee Feaster await Garcia's kick. It's a good one. Feaster will take it a yard deep. And Feaster still on his feet across the 25. Doesn't want to go down and finally does at the 30 as we head down to Jerry Punch. Doc?
Guys, keeping with our Thursday night tradition, we have a guest coach as a guest analyst here. And this week, another Division I undefeated head coach, John Cooper from the Ohio State Buckeyes. And, Coach, before I send you upstairs, you've got to be watching this ball game with a lot of anticipation, knowing your Buckeyes are inching closer to the top of those polls.
Well, I certainly am, Jerry. It's a great ball game. It's a great game for the fans to watch, particularly offensive game. I don't think I've seen as much offense in one half between two football teams as I'm seeing here tonight.
From the 30, Kanell wants to throw a screen and does to Preston. And Preston hurdles back across the 35 out to the 38-yard line. And Coach Cooper, nice to have you along with us tonight. And John, I was going to say, I've seen a team that had a lot of offense in a half. You last week, 56 points in 2 quarters.
Brad, thank you very much. That's about as good as we can play. Bobby Hoying and Terry Glenn, Eddie George, Ricky Dudley, and our offensive team had a big Orlando Pace, and the rest of the offensive line had a great game.
Get right back to you, Coach, after Kanell with a first down at the 42-yard line. They'll keep it on the ground. Warrick Dunn, first time he's touched it since he was in the locker room with the IVs at halftime, and he picks up about 8 yards.
Coach, it's a little bit different now at Ohio State. Your receivers watch this game, and they're not in envy of this offense anymore with the new style you're running.
Well, that's exactly right, Gary. We've got some great receivers. Terry Glenn, Buster Tillman. I mentioned Ricky Dudley, our great tight end, and Bobby Hoying, our great quarterback, makes it go.
Second down, 2. The second man through is done, and it looks like he's got a first down at about the 47-yard line. Todd White made the tackle. John, as anybody that watched the game we did last week knows, you pulled all your starters at halftime. Have you had any second thoughts about that after what Iowa did in the second half?
No, not at all, Brad. Our young players work hard during the week. My philosophy is if you work hard during the week in practice, you ought to get a chance to play on Saturday, so I don't regret that at all.
First down, and Pooh Bear Williams, short gain, maybe a yard.
Hey, Brett, John's good at timing these answers and letting us get the snap in, John. You've had some experience.
Watching that big Pooh Bear, we tried to recruit him, but he weighed about 220 when we talked to him out of high school. Looks like he weighs about 280 right now.
You know, this shotgun, is this the next step in the evolution of the Ohio State offense? You go to the shotgun all the time like this?
I'll tell you, Gary, this is fast break football, isn't it?
Couldn't be much faster. Point a minute. The pace that we're on almost for both teams tonight. Kanell stands in and finally gets flushed for the first time, and down he goes.
You got to have a little bit of pressure like that. That was a great pass rush.
That's exactly what Rick Lance was telling us, the defensive coordinator for Virginia, John. You've got to get hits on Kanell at some point, whether it's before, during, or after a play.
And it looks like, Brad, they're only rushing 3 linemen. It's really hard to get a good pass rush when you're rushing 3 and defending with 8, but that's a great rush there by the front 3 of Virginia.
And John, you're exactly right, and that was the changeup for this game. Rick Lance, a little bit of a changeup. They're running a 3-3-5, and it has given Florida State some problems. Kanell threw an interception against that defense at the end of the half.
Here's a 3rd and 20, and here comes the heat again, and down he goes again.
Hey, you got a fired up Virginia football team there tonight, I can say that. George has got them ready to play, doesn't he?
That he does. And 44,000 screaming for sack number 2 in a row.
I think not only the pressure inside, but downfield, John, they're starting to get in those zones and not allow Kanell the easy throw.
Well, that's the whole secret, and I thought Lee Corso had a great point. Looks like Florida State's trying to get the easy touchdown. They're trying to go for the bomb, quite often.
Tiki Barber on the punt return, a punt that was almost blocked, and Barber got the corner. Whoa, has he got some speed. 7:26 left, 3rd quarter. The number 2 team in the country's in a heap of trouble in Charlottesville. And the top 5 looks like this. History. And boy, would this be a huge notch in the whole career. We can pull it upset. Groh is going down, and it's Tyrant Marion just back after the injury, starting tonight with a sack.
Thursday night football, John. Would you like to have your football team play on Thursday nights?
I'd rather play Saturday afternoon. I tell you, like you said, Gary, I'm nervous here now. I'm more nervous right here tonight watching this ball game than I am when we play. I tell you, we've got a couple of great coached, well-coached football teams. George Welch and Bobby Bowden do a great job.
But what about Thursday night? Why won't the Big Ten, some of the other schools, get involved in this Thursday night routine?
Well, it wouldn't be too bad if you had an open date the next week. But up here, it seems like we play on Saturday. Once school starts, we play all of our games on Saturday.
Third down, 17. Groh flares it out to his safety valve. Brooks breaks the tackle and gets to about the 41-yard line back across the original line of scrimmage.
Hey, Coach Jerry Punch again. Thanks for taking time out of your home there in Columbus, Ohio, and joining us tonight as our guest analyst. Hey, best of luck to you against Minnesota and the rest of the year.
Well, thank you very much. You guys do a great job. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Coach. Coach Coop, John Cooper of Ohio State, and there aren't many people that can say any more undefeated team.
Too bad they don't get an opportunity to win it all on the field the way it should be done.
That's right. Will Bryce to punt. The Feaster is back, and he can change the scoreboard in a hurry, too, if you give him an opening. But I don't think Bryce is going to give him an opening. What a kick. But here comes Feaster the other way. Out across the 30 to the 33. 51-yard kick, but a 23-yard D. Feaster return with 5:15 remaining third quarter. Got in your face a few times, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, unfortunately. He talked a lot on the field, too, and he's still doing it, isn't he?
Getting paid for it now. 9-point Florida State deficit, 5:15 in the third. Here's Warrick Dunn. And Dunn got out to the 38. Wally Reinard, the freshman, with a tackle. Let's check in with Jerry Punch.
Talked to Cavalier head coach George Welch at halftime. Asked him what his concern. I said, what concerns you most in the second half? He looked at me straight in the eyes and said, the Florida State offense. They're frightening. They're explosive. We've been very successful going from our 4-3 to our 3-4, rushing 3 men. We've got to be that successful in the second half and have our offense keep their offense off the football field.
There's the 3 rushing, but Kanell off play action. He is getting harried back there in the pocket and throws it away wisely. And again, Danny has to pick himself off the turf. Todd White was back there in his face, as was Dwayne Ashman.
You look at this defense, what you're going to see is a picket fence. Everybody stay in their zone. The linebackers are going to back up. Just stay at home. Stay at home. Spread yourself out. Keep the quarterback and the receivers in front of you and force Danny Kanell to make some tough throws. That's the object.
Third down along 4. Kanell rolls and fires. Threw it in and hit his intended receiver, Cooper, but he got popped as he tried to haul it in, and it's incomplete.
Skeet Jones, the middle linebacker that time, did a nice job, and Jamie Sharper, number outside linebacker, just stayed in there. Jones reacted to the ball and came in, got a hit on the play, and Sharper, number 33, is the guy who got the kick just as the ball got there.
Fourth time it's been 3 and out for the Florida State offense. Sean Liss has had 1 block and almost the last time, too, and here comes the 10-man rush again. Lazy end-over-end kick. Tiki Barber, fair catch, dropped it, but scooped it up at the 30-yard line. Throughout the season, here's Brooks, and a little quick opener, and he got about 4. Don Rebo made the tackle. Brooks comes in there, and they lose really nothing, although Tiki Barber, boy, when he hits the corner, look out.
There is a different dimension, but they have to keep it. I think that's what's really been key in this football game for Virginia. They're looking to win this game in the fourth quarter. They're keeping their players fresh. They've substituted on the offense and the defensive line, and they're going to say, I want to get it to the fourth quarter and let fresh guys have a chance to win.
Fresh guys in at wide receiver right now. A 2nd and 6. One of them, Myron Owen, is in motion. Here's Medley. He got popped at the line of scrimmage.
Darrell Bush that time, the inside backer, who's really the center of that defense.
Again, Ryan Owen in motion. Groh over the middle, 2-0. Made the catch across the middle, but he's at least a yard short of the first down. Sam Towart made a nice stop defensively, and it'll be a punting situation for the Cavaliers.
This is the type of defense that I think gives most quarterbacks the most trouble. They're double teaming a different guy each time. You have to really be patient and read it, and Cole did a good job that time of reading the quarterback's eyes and being the extra guy over there and making the play. No more gambling early in this third period.
Will Bryce to punch. A left footer hit another bomb. Feaster has to call fair catch and almost dropped it. Nice job by Feaster to get over to shag that thing down. Coming up on Saturday, ESPN2 has a big chunk of college football for you at noon. Ball all the way back at the 6-yard line. Just inside the 7 anyway. Kanell from the end zone. Screen pass to Dunn. And he's dropped inside the 5.
By Poindexter again.
Wow.
And that's a defense that I don't think if they had played Saturday and play them the next Saturday, they don't have time to put this defense in. But now it's a changeup, and it is giving Florida State trouble because they're allowing to get Poindexter, one of their best athletes, on the field. Credit Rick Lance with a good game plan against this shotgun offense.
Credit Poindexter for being one of those Jeff Fuller types that not everybody has on their ball club. Second down at 13. Toss to Dunn. Warrick didn't get to the 10 because Poindexter and Ferrier there to meet him.
Poindexter's such an interesting athlete. He's just a freshman, but he was a high school quarterback. He was drafted by the Marlins in baseball. That's the type of athlete he is. He's a very aware football player, and what surprised me is the coach has said he's a vicious hitter.
Yep. One of their best tacklers, one of their top tacklers, and a lot of the time doesn't start. He had 15 tackles against Clemson. He had 11 against Georgia Tech. He's having that kind of night again tonight, and it's third down and 8. Kanell, deep ball with a man wide open, Riley, but he overshot.
You got to have some breaks sometime. Paul London right now is happy. The deep safety bit on Kanell's eyes, and boy, he was wide open. Shotgun snap. You're back there. You see number 5, top of your screen. Just a little bit of a stutter step. There's the ball. Riley's wide open, and Kanell just misjudges the speed.
Punt is a beauty from Liss, but Barber's got a chance from the 41. Tiki Barber. Tiki Barber. Down the sideline. Pouncing Williams saved a touchdown. 24-yard return of a 50-yard punt by Tiki Barber.
Tiki Barber showing patience. Goes right, left, right up the gut. And I'm surprised that Pouncing Williams was able to catch him this time. Pouncing, 280 pounds, and he showed you why he's a fullback at 280 pounds, because he would have scored.
Coming up right after the game, Keith Olbermann and Linda Cohn get you caught up on the new Yankee manager, Joe Torre. Alonzo Mourning, is he going to be traded? And the Cowboys' troubles. All that more on SportsCenter following our CFA primetime action from Charlottesville. Groh nailed, looking for someplace to deposit that, and instead Darrell Bush deposited Mike Groh.
Yeah, and that one hurts because Darrell Bush had a 12-yard head start, and Mike Groh stopped, and that's when you get pasted when you're a quarterback. You move inside of one guy, bootleg. It's been good to him before, but that time the fullback, Medley, was not able to get out, and Groh, you saw the collision. That one hurts.
And that's when you end up with prescription athletic turf helmet is what you end up with. He's got most of it out of it. Second and 17, Brooks on the draw, and he got back to the original line of scrimmage. So it's going to bring up a third and 10. And that is going to do it for quarter number 3. Virginia's Cavaliers trying to stop the long streak of Florida State. They've beaten 29 in a row in conference play. It's in some serious jeopardy. The end of 3 from Charlottesville. It's Virginia 30. The Seminoles of Florida State 21. Don't go away. First time since the Florida regular season game of a year ago, Florida State trails at the end of 3 quarters.
Yeah, I remember that one. I think everybody who's a Florida State and Florida fan remembered 31-3 after 3 quarters. I don't think 30-21 scares you all that much.
That's
after
probably
that.
Right.
Game not over.
But Virginia has ball. Third and 10.
Right now.
And they're up by 9. Just inside the Florida State 25. High snap. Groh handles it. And there goes any chance for more points from Virginia. He's dropped back at the 38-yard line. And it would be a huge gamble to try a field goal here. It'd be about 55 yards.
Yeah, but I'm not going to guess anymore with him on this field goal thing. I would punt, but, you know, I would have punted the last one.
So will George.
This one is a rocket. And Groh did an excellent job as Gatham, the backup center, was in Lachlan. The number 1 guy was not in, and that's really what caused the play. Trying to get your guys some rest. Big play happens with your backup center.
Now Bryce, who's been booming punts, will not be asked to do so. Got to get one inside the 10. He hits it a mile in the air. He's giving his coverage unit a chance. How about inside the 5? That's doing your job. 32-yard kick, about a mile in the air, and drops inside the 5. And his teammates saying to center Dave Gathman, hey man, you've been out, you've been injured. He basically played a good part of the beginning of the season, had knee surgery in September, just coming back, and he had the high snap. So now Florida State takes over, but they're in a hole inside the 5. Bobby Bowden trying to fire his troops up on the sideline.
Let's go. Remember Florida, guys. We were in this position before. We did it before, but in the 3rd quarter, Florida State 12 plays, 17 yards.
Kanell from his own end zone off play action. Fires it down the middle, incomplete. Intended for E.G. Green, and Ferrier got a deep drop from his linebacker spot to help break that up.
And if that would have been a good throw, that was one that was tried a little bit too much of a gamble. Ferrier, number 42, you see him in the middle of your screen. That ball was thrown low, or that would have been picked off. Kanell, it's always hard to throw that ball over the middle if you don't account for the linebackers.
He's been quiet tonight. Gary's Andre Cooper had a 46-yarder earlier, but he has been quiet since. And Kanell goes incomplete. Nobody home out there receiver-wise as we check in with Dr. Jerry Punch. Doc?
Now, as you're referring to the Florida game a year ago when Florida State had to come back late in the football game to collect the win or the tie, Bobby Bowden, the very last thing he said in the locker room at halftime to his offense is, if we don't go out and play like we did against Florida, we're going to come back in here in 30 minutes as losers. And that's not a very good feeling.
Now they're 13 minutes, 58 seconds away from that very feeling. Andy Kanell, only 3 of his last 12, and now the Seminoles a little confused as well. Timeout.
The reason he took a timeout is he only had 10 men on the field.
That's confused. 13:58 remaining in the ball game. Virginia trying to pull the shocker and leading by 9. Bill and Jerry Punch with you from Scott Stadium, where Virginia leads second-ranked Florida State 30-21. Andy Kanell's been struggling lately. 2 of 7 this half. 3rd and 10 from his own end zone. Incomplete. Florida State will have to punt from its own end zone.
Defensive coordinator Rick Lance for Virginia has got a hot hand. It's a 3-3-5 defense.
Kick from Liss. Tiki Barber's going to have a chance from his own 48. Tripped over his own man trying to help him out. And he will go down in Florida State territory. Another full day of college football on ESPN. The Werewolves are out for Florida State on this Halloween past week. Here's Groh firing it out. Complete to the 42. Got it to Brian Owen. Groh says, well, I could have hit him a little better than that, but he'll take it.
Yeah, but he kept the ball low, was in a safe position. He was working on Samari Roll, is the guy I'd work on. You see the field position right there in the second half, and Virginia looking very good. They've been bottling up a lot of punts in the second half. Very different game from the first half, as if you've watched this in the first half and now with us in the second. If you didn't watch the first half, you missed it.
Shame on you. Second down 4. 3 wide out set for Mike Groh. Gonna loft one long. What a catch at the 14 by Owen.
And they are working on the player to the outside. This time Brian Capers, man-to-man bump and run. And this is the best ball Mike Groh has thrown in the game. He's got a receiver to the outside. Look at the box to the outside of the field. Owens gives him plenty of room. The ball is put to the outside. That is perfect execution. When you throw the fade route, your receiver has to give you 4 or 5 yards to the outside. It is much of a horizontal pass as it is a vertical pass.
And if Virginia can get a touchdown on this drive, it's a long ways back for Florida State. Down to about the 12, maybe the 11-yard line is Barber before. Second down and 7. Groh fires out incomplete. Crowell, the intended receiver. And now Mike Groh just got hammered as he let go of that. I think it was Roy again.
It was. He is a man. He has really stepped up his play in this football game, coming from the outside. And really, Groh did not have time to stay with that play because Crowell was coming off late. It was kind of a delayed route, and Mike had to throw the ball early.
One thing that all the coaches will tell you about Mike Groh, he is one tough sucker, and he just got off the turf there and back up. Play comes in from the bench, and it's going to be 3rd down and 7.
302 yards passing on just 19 completions. You know he's getting a big play for his team, too. That surprised me a bit in this game.
Play action. Groh throws. It's intercepted by Samari Roll. And now the football comes loose, and a penalty marker goes down. I don't know if he was attempting a lateral and it went forward, or if there's some other infraction. We'll have to wait until they clear it all up in front of the Virginia bench.
Well, this time Mike Groh caught a coverage that he wasn't expecting. They stayed in a zone and they rolled up to the outside, and a guy who's gotten beaten, Roll, was standing right there and reacted to the ball.
And he and Colsey both have interceptions inside the 10 tonight, stopping scoring drive. Huge turnover right here.
Remember, the play before, Groh was hit very hard. You wonder how he reacted to this game and how healthy he was with this throw. The ball sailed, but Roll did an outstanding job of going to get it. And I think he was trying to lateral the ball to Colsey.
At the 32-yard line. Florida State down 9 on offense. Kanell double pumps. Goes complete across the 35. Got it to Ron Dugan. There's the turnover story.
Well, if you'd have told me that Virginia was going to turn the ball over 4 times in this game
and be leading
by 9, I would be very surprised.
We'd be checking your coffee, wouldn't we? Second down, and Kanell way too far out in front of Warrick Dunn on that little swing pass that's worked so effectively all night and all season long.
And there's a guy that really hasn't been as big a factor, and I thought one of the keys to this game was how effective Warrick Dunn was in this game. You know, he finished the half with only 60 yards. He had 8 rushes for 20 and 4 catches for 40. And by the yards they put in the second half, he must not have much more.
3rd down and 7. They've had too many 3-and-outs this half. Kanell all day to throw it way high. Intended for Cooper. And the 4th straight time it's been 3 and kick for the Florida State offense.
Talk about Poindexter taking away Dunn. Here's Dunn back here. Here's Poindexter to the top. Watch him just shadow him to the outside. He leaves the screen. Dunn leaves the screen. Poindexter leaves the screen. Can't throw it to Dunn.
And now Sean Liss to punt. Tiki Barber with his left wrist and thumb taped is back to receive. He takes it at the 30. Got about 7 out of the return. With 11 minutes and 29 seconds. And now some of his teammates saying to Danny Kanell, if we'll get it done, just hang in there and don't worry about it.
The zone defense and the 5 dropping linebackers has gotten Danny Kanell out of his game.
A 29-game streak on the line. If Bobby Bowden could win tonight, he'd do no worse than a tie for another conference championship, and he would tie the 2nd longest winning streak in conference play in the history of college football.
Yeah, but everybody gets on ACC, and what that graphic showed, I think, is not a lot of other teams are beating them, though, during this streak either, you know.
West Virginia had a streak back in the... was the one that is in the record book, and a lot of people think, well, maybe Florida State could do that. Well, now they better worry about it.
One more time here. Look, I mean, Miami did it twice. Notre Dame did it. You know, and Florida got the tie. I mean, those teams, that's the best in college football. So the ACC come under a little criticism, but, you know, no one else is knocking them off either.
That's right. 2nd down and 8. Penalty markers down. Groh is down.
Oh, that one's going to hurt again. He got hit in the head, and I'll tell you, you take a few shots, and they start to build up. It's like a boxer. The longer the game goes on, I thought that Virginia would have to do that to Kanell, but now Groh is starting to take some punishment. And the decision-making starts to go when that happens.
And that last shot that Spires put on him right at the very end, he was running for his life. And watch number 90. The last hit, the one that's going to hurt probably more than the other ones.
Absolutely. You see Groh ducks under one right here, but Spires comes from the screen and just puts the head right there, drives him into the ground, and it just accumulates as just like a boxer in a game. It's gotten into the 10th round right now, and Groh's decision-making will not be as good now as it was in the middle of this football game.
Bo and Holyfield are waiting on each other Saturday. We got a couple heavyweights going at it right now, and Groh has to throw this one away as he was getting heat that time from Wilson again. And now the Virginia offense has short-circuited a bit.
Orphis Rowe has had some sacks. This time he was able to read the screen, get out in front of it, and that forced the throwdown. Number 98 is going to be in the middle of this screen, right there, to the outside. He grabs Barber. You can't throw it to that guy when there's a guy right in front of him at 6'5" and has a white jersey on.
So another punting situation for Virginia. And you just can't keep opening the door too often for Florida State. A 9-point difference is not much. High snap. Handled it well. Feaster had a little trouble with that, and now he's got to lay off it. And what would have been probably no worse than the 25-yard line, as a flag flies in late, becomes the 9-yard line. That penalty marker came in almost at the very end of the play.
I think this one's going to be against Virginia, too. Maybe holding.
Block in the back, above the waist, on the receiving team.
Ooh.
Half the distance to the goal. First down.
You hate to see those kind of things when you're punting. Wow, look at that.
And remember, they put up 360 yards in the first half. Complete turnaround, and they've done it with a 3-man rush. That goes against everything that everyone thought about this game, that they had to put pressure on Kanell. They've done it with a soft zone defense.
Georgia Tech tried something like this, and they slowed things down a little bit, but they had huge turnovers that became points for Florida State, and that hasn't been too much of the case tonight. That one's almost intercepted. Paul London says he has it, but he doesn't. That's a one-hopper. Todd White with the pressure on Kanell.
It was Todd White that got in there and forced Danny Kanell to throw the ball a bit before he wanted to, and this one was up for grabs. Again, just a 3-man rush, a stunt up front. Number 91, White, comes around and gets right onto Kanell, and those are the hits they need on Kanell late in the game. He's not throwing well right now. He's got to remember that he's got to rush.
That was a non-interested attempt at a block by Cougar Williams, I'll tell you that much. Here's a screen to Preston. And Rock Preston only got to the 7th. Ferrier, the linebacker, got over to make the stop. And we are going to be under 10 minutes the next time Florida State snaps it.
Brad, you want to see good defense? Here's the screen. 3 guys are going to come out and block this time. They fake it, and they're going to run the screen. 3 blockers come out right there. Now freeze it right there. 1, 2, 3. Now watch, Virginia's going to have 3 guys with them. 1, 2, 3. Great defense.
3rd down and long. Kanell from his own end zone. And he's going deep down the left sideline. Cooper trying to make the catch, but Barber breaks it up.
I'm not so sure Cooper didn't break it up on that one.
Could be.
Barber is the thief on this team, and he had his eyes. That was a thrown up one, and as Jerry Punch said, Cooper's arm is hurting, so he really gutted it out to knock that ball down.
5th straight time without a first down for Florida State's offense. In fact, they haven't had a first down since there was 9 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. They've gone a quarter without a first down, and List from his own end zone again. Tiki Barber runs up on it with fumble and got back on top of it at the 34-yard line. And now great field position again for Virginia with 9.5 to play. Remaining games for the ranked opponents. Nebraska's got a couple of tough ones in their conference. Florida State, this game, can they possibly come back? And then Florida on the 25th. That's with a couple other ACC games mixed in. Florida, their toughest opponent yet to come. Florida State and Ohio State, as Coach Cooper and Gary are talking about Michigan. Groh comes up firing, and too high, intended for Allen. He's covered out there by James Colsey. At the 34, 2nd down and 10, Virginia. The give inside to Tiki Barber, straight up the middle. 1st down, Cavaliers. Boy, he went 13 yards about as fast up the middle of the field as you can.
There's delayed draws, and then there's quick-hitting draws. This was a quick-hitting draw. Watch Tiki Barber. He starts before he gets the ball. Boom, he's hit it. Trap up front, in the middle. They get a good block from Slocum from number 64, and we're into the secondary before everybody turns their head.
Remember, Virginia's had a couple of starts in Florida State territory this half that have not produced points. The last one was another interception by Roll inside the 5.
And then the high snap where they didn't get anything.
Exactly. At the 21. This is what I would do, I think, is give it to a guy like Tiki Barber because he's already closing in on 140 yards on the ground. Don't forget, Sports Center follows us. And 8:45 left in this game. That would be not only a huge upset of the ACC, but a huge, huge upset as far as the rankings in college football. Bobby Bowden knows that. Trust me, he's not thinking about that right now. He's thinking about trying to get the ball back and getting his offense to not go 3 and out, as they've done 5 straight times. And there's Barber's numbers. Did I say 140? I stand corrected, 160. And here he comes again. Down to the 16-yard line. Capers put the hit on him.
Such a huge difference, though, with a 9-point lead. The difference between a field goal and a touchdown here for Virginia. You know, you add it up, 9-3-12, 2 touchdowns still beat you. You put that touchdown on the board, and that changes the whole complexion of the football game. Don't think Tom O'Brien and that staff doesn't realize that. They want to get in the end zone here. They just don't want to settle for 3 points.
And if they do get a touchdown and they get a 1-point conversion, that would be a 2-touchdown and 2-point conversions for Florida State, just a tie. Barber.
Great defense that time. Sam Cohen, number 56, stayed inside, read the play. They figured it was going to be an inside run play. The linebackers finally getting involved. You see, when you run right at the defense, those linebackers, Bush and Cowart and Revo, can make plays.
So here comes the field goal unit. They clear away from Rafael Garcia to let him set up shop himself. It'll be right at the 25, a 35-yard field goal attempt. Perfect tonight.
Remember, the last snap was not a great snap.
Garcia's kick is good. 4 for 4 for Garcia. And Bobby Bowden looks up there and said, well, it's still only a dozen. We're down with 6:57 left to go. Party is almost ready to start, but still some unfinished business on the field. Florida State trailing by 12. The streak, 6:57 being broken, and a chance at a national championship obviously will be vanishing unless Danny Kanell and the Florida State offense can find some fire here in a hurry.
If I was Danny Kanell, I wouldn't be one bit worried about this time. There's plenty of time in this football game. I know how fast we can do it. And I think Florida State needs to do is throw the ball a little deeper now. They've been throwing the ball in short hooks. They need to hit medium range, about 15 to 20-yard passes across the middle into the outside.
Garcia just jacks a kickoff. They'll have to go 80 to get their first one. Kanell not flawless in the first half, but huge numbers in the first half and almost none in the second.
He really has been out of sync, obviously, with those stats, but he just has not been able to get an offense in sync. They've had poor field position the second half, and they've been trying to hit those hitches. They need to get the ball a little deeper behind those linebackers.
His counterpart, Mike Groh, on the Virginia sideline would be the biggest win of his career if this holds. 1st and 10, Florida State. Kanell, that's a lateral. That's a double pass coming up. Dunn going deep for Cooper. And he got him at the 50. Warrick Dunn, that's not the first time he's thrown a pass this year. Second completion for him. This one good for 33 yards.
Bobby Bowden always brings a lot of trick plays with him when they come, and that's the first trick play that's worked in this game so far. It's the second pass attempt. You're exactly right, Brad. Look at it. It's a lateral. Cooper goes downfield that time. And London and Ellsworth have to react to it.
Now back to his quarterback throwing. Down inside the 35, complete to E.G. Green. And now here comes the Gulf Coast offense starting to click. Pick up a 13 and a first down.
And that's the first time that Danny Kanell has had no one in his face in plenty of time. When you're only rushing 3 guys, that offensive line needs to give him longer time to throw the ball and no one in his face.
Looks right, and now Thompson goes for Green again, and he's got it inside the 10. Just like that, first and goal, Seminoles.
And that's the area that I'm talking about that they need to attack this zone defense. They need to throw the ball downfield in the 20-yard range. There's 2 in a row that they've thrown, and they just like that. You know, it doesn't even take a minute to move the ball down the field against this zone defense when you have this type of an offense.
And you can hear a collective inhale at Scott Stadium from 44,000 people. They're going, uh-oh. Timeout with 6 minutes and 18 seconds remaining in the ball game. Florida State down by 12, but driving. At the 7-yard line for Florida State. Their first 6 drives this half netted them 19 yards. This one's taken them 73 yards in a hurry.
Virginia's going to have to score again, I think, to win this football game. And probably more than a field goal.
Riley, Green, and Cooper, the wideouts for Kanell, who's under center, but he'll keep it on the ground. And Dunn dives. Got there. Touchdown. So make it an 80-yard march, and it only took them about 40 seconds.
That's about it, didn't it?
Well, the field goal came with 6:57, and now we've got 6:13 left. And Florida State will go for 2 here.
Well, I'm not sure. They've got the kicker on and Kanell on at the same time.
I'm not sure one does them much more good than the other, but maybe it does in the long run when you start adding things up if Virginia got another field goal.
Well,
I haven't had time to go into that.
It makes it an 8-point game, but, you know, Florida State can't afford a tie in this game either.
And remember, they have had trouble even with extra points at times this year.
But I think the call here is the extra point. I would agree with the 1-pointer.
Scott Bentley has only missed 2 this year. I shouldn't say that's a lot of trouble considering how many touchdowns they scored. Tucked it in the left side.
Nice kick by Bentley because that ball was dropped. It was not handled well by the holder that time, and Bentley followed through and got the kick. There's a flag down on the play, however.
Penalty marker offside Virginia is the preliminary call we get from Courtney Mozzie, our referee.
Offside on the defense. Penalized on the kickoff. Extra point is good.
Have you seen?
But this just turns the corner. You can have an angle on him if you want him. Farrier does, but Warrick Dunn just gets into the end zone. And then the hold. We talked about the extra point. Kanell is the holder on this play. He bobbles it off the ground, and Bentley makes a perfect job of just trusting his holder, going through with the kick, and making the kick.
Well, Dunn and Barber have both done their work tonight. Tiki Barber has the better numbers, but that big touchdown by Warrick Dunn helps the look of his evening without a doubt. 2 all-ACC running backs, both with over 1,000 last year. Barber well over that already this season.
1 minute, the fans here were tasting a big upset. Now they're gargling.
They went from Chardonnay to Listerine in a hurry, didn't they?
Now they're nervous. You bet.
80 yards, 4 plays in 44 seconds. That's what Florida State just did. Bentley to kick. The luxury that short drive allowed them to. They don't have to worry about onside kicks and all of that. Just blast it away and try to get it back with your defense. Allen from the 2. And he goes only to about the 16-yard line. Lamont Green made a nice job to make the tackle on the special teams. Coming up on ESPN Sunday afternoon at 1:30 Eastern, Jeanette Gum. And we've got the Sports Center gang working too, but they're going to have to wait another 6 minutes and 8 seconds. Worst starting position of the half for the Cavaliers. Tiki Barber with a blocker in front. He got the corner again. Out to the 34, maybe the 35-yard line. 19-yard scamper, and now he's closing on a career high in this game. That may give it to him, as a matter of fact. 182. He's about one more carry away from his best, which is 185. What a huge game for a guy who fumbled in the opening quarter. You don't remember that, do you?
No, that's impossible to remember. There's been 700 yards of offense in the first half afterwards. Remember, they have not come back to that option play since that early touchdown. Same play the other way.
Crowell in motion.
Same
there
play
it is.
the other
Same
way.
play. And now he's going to go for a career high at 185 against Duke. He's past that here. We check in with Jerry Punch.
Hey, guys, if you're into numerology, check this out. Virginia had lost 29 consecutive times to Clemson before George Welsh came here as head coach. Florida State has beaten 29 consecutive ACC opponents. And the main road that runs right in front of Scott Stadium, you guessed it, highway.
After all, still a lot of football left, though. Just under 5 minutes. Second down 4. Florida State brings a blitz. And it pays off as they're able to clog up the middle and bring Barber down after a short gain. It'll be third down and a huge 2 coming up.
Danny Kanell now is feeling good about himself. He isn't going to remember those stats, doesn't even get concerned about it. He's going back to the positive vibes of that Florida comeback and that big throw he made against Notre Dame when that game was tight and he had won that football game. This is positive on that sideline. I think Virginia's going to have to gamble a bit more. They got to make a first down. They can't give him the ball back right now.
They've got a full 4 to go on third down. Keep it on the ground, and it comes up short. About a yard. Maybe not. Maybe a couple of feet. Sam Cord put the stop on Barber. And now it's fourth down and less than 1.
Yeah, I don't think you have any choice. You got to punt it.
George Welsh bouncing around on the sideline. Here comes his punter, Will Bryce, who's done a great job dropping them inside the 10-yard line.
Not only that, but catching 3 snaps very high. They've been flirting with danger at the high snap.
59 is long tonight. He's not worried about 59 here.
Ooh, another.
Lays up a beauty. Feaster takes it at the 9. And got about 6 on the return. Nice job on the special teams. Groh got down there along with Phelan and made the hit. But remember, it only took Danny Kanell and Florida State 44 seconds to go 80 yards last time. The question is, can they go 85 with plenty of time?
So what happens now? Does the experience from the Michigan and Texas game help Virginia in this fourth quarter? Or does the snake-bit feeling of those 2 losses haunt you in the back of your mind and a big play happens to you? That's what makes this game great here as we watch this last 3 minutes.
They've lost 3 games by 7 points total this year. Dunn out of the backfield, put a great move on. And he got almost 10 yards. Steve Jones, one of the linebackers, made the tackle. This is where Florida State has an advantage. They don't worry about a huddle. They walk up there.
They don't, but Virginia has kept their guys fresh for this drive right here. Let's see if they can get a sack or make a play.
Kanell pumps once, now fires out in the flat. In and out of the hands of Cooper. He's having trouble. And maybe it's the arm injury, but he's dropped some tonight, and he doesn't drop many.
It is, but, you know, it's second and a yard right here. They still have 2 more downs for it. Now it's third down. Ball thrown to the outside. Kanell wanted to go deep with it. He settled for the easy throw. And you see Cooper try to beat the guy. It was Poindexter again before he caught the ball. Still 2 plays. Wouldn't be surprised to see the draw here on third down.
Third down, a long yard. There it is. Dunn got the first.
Got to make the first down. Still plenty of time in this football game.
They had
Florida
missed
State,
their last 6 third down conversions until that one.
but this was the first one that they had a position with just, you know, third and a couple yards
Right.
to go for it. 2 timeouts for Florida State, just 1 for Virginia. Should State put something on the board?
Under 3 minutes. To an upset or a miracle comeback for the Seminoles. Kanell flush. Throws deep middle. Intercepted. Picked off by Ellsworth. second interception of the night and his 6th of the year. And what a huge time to come up with it.
Percy Ellsworth is the safety back here. He's going to read Kanell's eyes the whole way. Watch as he comes out. And Danny Kanell makes the biggest mistake you can make as a quarterback. Going one direction and throwing across the middle of the field. If you aren't sure of it, it costs him an interception. And that's the second interception, key interception that Ellsworth's made. And remember the tip he had on that one, too.
Just on the Florida State side of the 50, but now it's back in Virginia territory thanks to the hit for loss. Henry Crockett dropping.
This game is not over, though.
There's the pride of Druryville, Virginia, right there.
He's had a tremendous football game. The whole defense, the game plan has been perfect. But Danny Kanell got greedy. He got greedy on a play that he should not have thrown the ball across the middle of the field, rolling to his right, and he might pay for it. He wants one more chance. He might not get it.
Second down at 14. Tiki Barber's got a hole on the left side. It closed rather quickly, but he got near the 46-yard line. Reinard Wilson made the tackle.
The key thing was Mike Groh that time snapped that ball with 1 second on the 25-second clock. Florida State is forced to use one of their remaining.
The timeout story, each club has one, but also 8 yards separates Virginia from a first down right here.
Yeah, 8 yards, they win the game. If they don't get a first down here, Florida State's going to get the ball.
Groh will work from the shotgun with 3 wideouts and a bad snap. Ball loose on the ground.
They are so fortunate to be able to fall on that ball. I don't know if they were trying to do a direct snap to the back on that play. And you can see George right there say, I don't believe it. I think they were trying to direct snap that time right to Tiki Barber.
At any rate, Florida State will get its hands on the football one more time. Danny Kanell licking that right throwing hand, and we'll find out what he does with it. We'll get a chance offensively with a punt coming up.
And as we'll show in just a second here, they're lucky to be able to punt this ball right now.
Will Bryce has done a brilliant job punting tonight for Virginia. And we're going to ask him again to hang one up there and let his group get down and not let Feaster have anything. Feaster, fair catch taken, and this one goes in the end zone. So it's the 20-yard line for Florida State. The reason for the punt is this last play.
Tom Laughlin, the center, number 52, forgot or wasn't told that Groh's in the shotgun. He just snapped it up. And fortunately, Tiki Barber, it was going to be a draw. Had he been just going out for a pass, they wouldn't have got the ball. Tiki Barber scooped it up.
Well, when you're trying to beat the number 2 team in the country, sometimes your butt can go numb, I think, with a minute and a half to go. He didn't feel the quarterback there.
Remember, Scott Dreisbach and Michigan in a very similar situation with no timeouts drove the length of the field and scored on the last play to beat them already. This is seeming like deja vu, I think, for this defense.
80 yards away and a minute 37 to work. Kanell sets up, wants a lot of it on the first play. And it's caught inside the 30 by Phil Riley.
Oh, I don't understand that one at all. I think it's incomplete. I don't think he caught it.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Florida State sideline thinks he did.
Well, one guy said he caught it, and one guy said no, and they're arguing. What do you mean he didn't catch it? I said he did. I said he didn't. Neither one of them have been able to watch the replay. Paul London is the guy that's back there. I don't understand the throw. They went for everything with a minute 30 to go. 2 guys on this deep one, Riley.
Now the officials are going to bring it back.
When in doubt, I guess it's incomplete. Let's see if we can tell with the replay, the benefit of the replay. Riley against London. Who has it? Anybody? I thought maybe if anybody. No, the ball's under his legs right there. If you can roll it back right now. Nobody has the football. That's a Groh play. Watch this ball. It's going to go between his legs on the play. Neither play has it. That's a good call.
So back it comes, 2nd and 10.
One more look from behind, and you're going to see the ball go loose on the ground right there. It's underneath them right there on the ground.
Good call. 2nd and 10, Seminoles. Kanell fires, and he goes to the same guy, and this one is caught.
Well, that's what they need. First downs, clocks are going to stop right there.
Move the
Minute
chains.
17 to go. Get it down to their end of the end zone, then you can throw into the zone. really surprised by that first call to take it all the way down the field in double coverage.
Florida State obviously needs a touchdown, but they don't even need an extra point if they use all the time. They throw the other way, and they get complete to Cooper, who hasn't caught one in a long time, and he's got another first down across the 45 to the 46. And George Welsh is saying, what can I tell these kids after they lose to Michigan on the last play, Texas on the last play, and we're at the Carolina 25-yard line? What if? What if? What if?
Everybody second guesses themselves in these types of games. Tom O'Brien saying, did I remind the center of a shotgun? Everybody says, what could I have done differently?
First down. Kanell, high throw, taken in by Cooper, but he's out of bounds. And Joe Williams was covering. It'll be second down and 10.
Remember, in college, if you shove the player out of bounds, he is out of bounds. In the pro, if you shove him out, it counts as a catch.
Florida State does not even give Virginia's defense a chance to breathe. As soon as that official walks away from that ball, they're ready. Second and 10. Danny Kanell. Pressured, goes complete to Cooper. And Cooper's got it down to the 41-yard line. That's 42-yard line. It's still good for another first down.
Virginia's linebackers in that zone defense need to back up and make those things happen in front of them. They're getting 15-yard throws that's stopping the clock. They need to let them complete a pass and not have the clock be stopped.
Kanell for the first down. The 43-yard line of Virginia. Backpedals. Has all day and now fires sideline high, but is it caught? No, incomplete.
Now that's the way you got to play that defense. Those linebackers were at 15 yards, and that's going to force Kanell to throw the ball at a 20-yard, and then people have time to react to it.
Bobby Bowden looking on. Mike Groh praying with Tiki Barber on the sideline, I'm sure. And second down and 10, Florida State's offense. Needs a touchdown with 26 seconds left. Will it be done? Nope, they're going to throw wide to Cooper. Out of bounds just in front of the first down marker. It's going to be third down at about 2 feet.
21 seconds to go. Any completion here, though, stops the clock again.
Rondé Barber, he's been a busy cornerback tonight. Second down and about a foot. Third down, excuse me. Kanell short to Dunn. Dunn broke a tackle inside the 20 and down to the 12-yard line.
So reminiscent of that play against Florida when he threw the short pass to Dunn and he ran around on Florida and made the plays.
13 seconds. Clock stopped while they move the chains. Let's see if Kanell just downs one here to get his breath.
And 3 more plays if he does.
And he does.
9 seconds to go. Probably will only get off 2 plays. Dunn has put them in a position, though, that they can throw to the end zone each time.
Bobby Bowden, streak of 29 in a row. Victories over conference opponents that started way back when they joined the conference. The penalty markers down.
Came down late. I think they're saying that Virginia had too many men on the field that time.
Illegal participation on the defense. 12 men on the field. Half the distance to the goal.
Well, Virginia didn't need that. They didn't need to give Florida State that help.
2 crucial self-inflicted wounds late in this football game by Virginia. Not knowing they were in a shotgun formation, and then too many men on the field has put the ball down on the 6-yard line. 9 seconds to go. And you know what's different now is, now, if you take the ball from under center, you probably can make 3 quick throws. The shotgun might only give you 2 throws.
At the 6-yard line. They're ready to celebrate, but we've got 9 seconds left. And there will be no celebration if Florida State scores in the next 2 plays. That's for sure. Defensive coordinator Rick Lance of Virginia says when you play Florida State, it's like playing a basketball game. You got to play the passing lanes. He's going to try to fill them here. Kanell throws it away. 1 play left. And wait a minute, here comes the student body, and that won't help the cause. Get them off the field. This game's not over.
The players from Virginia are waving everybody off the field. One last play. I really think the shotgun cost Florida State one play.
Here's the ball game. Virginia leads 33-28, trying to shock the number 2 team in the country here in Charlottesville.
The last play of the game for the 3rd time.
You'll know in 4 seconds who wins it. Touchdown! No! No! They say he didn't make it. Virginia's upset Florida State. The domination, the hostile takeover, if you will, of the ACC has come to an end. Virginia has beaten Florida State.
And the guy who stopped him was Ellsworth and London. The 2 safeties were in on that play right at the end of it, I think of it.
Here's the final play of the game.
Dunn, it appeared to me, it was a direct snap to Warrick Dunn. He came out. Did his knee come down? Did the ball come loose before he crossed the line? A play is made by the safeties. He did not cross it. There you see the ball. He did not cross the line. London and Vernon, number 37, made the play.
Another look from another angle. Valiant effort by Dunn on the final play of the ball game. And then the feeling of an upset.
So many times, so close, 2 games, and that experience, did it pay off? I don't know, but they sure deserved it.
1 goalpost is already history in Charlottesville. Tonight's Wrangler players of the game from Florida State, E.G. Green, even on a bad hamstring, had a huge night. And from Virginia, Tiki Barber may have fumbled in the first quarter, but that's the only thing he did wrong. A career-high 193 yards and a couple of touchdowns tonight. That's the final. You hear more about this upset on SportsCenter. But right now, for Jerry Punch and Gary Danielson, Brad Nessler saying so long from Scott Stadium in Charlottesville. Virginia has upset Florida State.
Hey there, are you looking for something special? Well, you found it here on SportsCenter. Sure, it's thumbs down for Tyson against Mathis, but Bo and Holyfield are still waiting for their big night on Saturday. The Alonzo Mourning rumors are swirling, and one player is willing to be a part of the deal.
You trade me for Alonzo Mourning, I don't want a 13 man. I'll take the $7 million. So work on that for me tonight.
Okay, I got it.
All right.
It's official. Joe Torre is managing in New York again. The second-ranked Seminoles hit the road for the first time since September. Ken Lindros and the Flyers deal the Panthers a loss. One Northwestern alum dealing with the Wildcats' success in dramatic fashion.
Stand still and behold the power of the Lord.
Behold the power of the SportsCenter. It's a hootie, and he only wants to be with us. Next.
I still can't believe we didn't get nominated for that video. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the big show alongside my tag team colleague Linda Cohn on a wacky night.
College football top 25 action where number 2 Florida got upset by number 20 Virginia 33-28. The big play, Demetrius Allen, 72-yard TD reception from Mike Groh. But with time winding down, Warrick Dunn comes up inches short from the goal line. Seminoles fall to 7-1. On the ice, the Red Wings battled back from a 5-2 deficit.
By American Honda, celebrating their 25th anniversary of selling cars in America. And by Rochester Big and Tall, the premier clothier for the big and tall man. Rochester Big and Tall.
Welcome back. If there was a time to send a message to the pollsters, it was tonight on ESPN for former number 1, now number 2 Florida State. A national TV audience, playing on the road for the first time in close to 2 months, facing real competition for the first time since the Miami game, and that's not saying a whole lot. Up against a Virginia team which features enough offensive depth to stay with the nation's top point producers. The question is, for how long? There's Bobby Bowden, undefeated in ACC action. The streak in jeopardy, 7-0 FSU, but Tiki Barber taking the pitch from Groh. Barber off to the races down the sidelines. Tiki Barber in for the score, 64-yard run. We are tied at 7. Bowden seeing trouble early, and he was right. Sean List, the punt blocked by James Faria, picked up by Brian Owen. And Owen returns it to the 20-yard line. That led to a Cavs field goal. Danny Kanell now. throwing the great diving interception by Percy Ellsworth, one of 2 INTs in the first half for Kanell. Then 4th and 1 in Virginia territory. Warrick Dunn takes the option. He's tackled for the loss. Seminoles missing plenty of chances. It would get worse for FSU. Mike Groh getting the good protection, the pass deep, the great catch by Demetrius Allen, who takes it all the way for the score. 72-yard pass play. Mike Groh and the Cavaliers were up by 6 at the half over the number 2 team in the country. Bobby Bowden trying to rally the troops, and Danny Kanell looking, getting the protection, and finding Phillip Riley all alone, but he's overthrown it. Kanell and FSU gained 22 yards in the first 21 plays in the second half. Under 3 minutes to go, Kanell throwing over the middle, but he's picked off by Percy Ellsworth again. 20 seconds to go now. Seminoles not dead. Kanell finding his favorite target in Dunn, and Dunn would break free and would take it all the way to the 12-yard line, and that set up the last play. The draw to Dunn. He's close, but he doesn't get in. His knees were down and fumbled it anyway. Mike Groh ecstatic. Take a look at the replay. Dunn never does break the plane. And this is big as the Cavaliers beat FSU for the first time in school history. The final, 33-28. No losing on the last play this time for the Virginia Cavaliers. First ever win for Virginia over FSU. And you know, this was the most points FSU has given up in 15 games. Even though Virginia now has sole possession of first in the ACC, keep in mind that there is no tiebreaker. And if both FSU and the Cavs finish with the same record, the Bowl Alliance can still take the Seminoles, which they probably will. Meanwhile, standing by with losing coach Bobby Bowden is our Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thanks, guys. I'm with Florida State head coach Bobby Bowden. And, Coach, a gallant effort tonight.
Yeah, good effort, but I don't know how close that was, but it was that kind of a football game. I have to give Virginia the credit. George Welch, I hate to lose, but there ain't a better guy you could lose to than George Welch.
You weren't surprised at all at halftime that you were playing an emotional football team, but they were playing so well, playing almost above themselves.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be that way. The open date probably helped them a lot because I think they were a tired football team against Texas. At least they looked like it. And they kept us pretty confused with what they were doing, and we were not sharp enough to beat it.
Coach, this is an unusual situation for your football team. They don't lose many. What you had to say to them in the locker room here after the game?
Well, just try to be good losers. No, we don't lose very often, and when you do, you gotta. It's part of life, and nothing lasts forever, you know. And they got to us.
Coach, the national championship. I know you think about week to week, but that obviously has to be a little bit disappointing. This loss tonight that may move that shot away.
Yeah, you know, I've always felt like that national championship thing, it will sort itself out. You know, we have all this fun talking about it. It sorts itself out. Kind of sorted us out tonight, you know, and but we'll come back and do the best we can do.
Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Coach Bobby Bowden, always a gentleman. Let's go back to Sports Center.
Thank you, Jerry. Coming up later on the show, we're going to break down just who and how many hopefuls are there in this year's race for the Heisman Trophy. Stick with us for that.